It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon in New York, the perfect time for a ball game. And yeah, the Mets are playing a game, but more than that, it's a great day for a bark in the park. Hundreds of dogs have made their way to Citi Field to enjoy the ball game with their best friends. At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball. Today, the Mets play the San Francisco Giants. Have a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets play Game 2 of their 4-game series against the San Francisco Giants. The Mets lost their third straight last night, a 10-inning, 4-3 defeat, but over the last few days, we've gotten to see more and more of 24-year-old Kirk Nieuwenhuis, who's starting to make a home for himself in center field.
Well, he's been fantastic. He has a 7-game hitting streak, but even more important, he's doing what you have to do in center field. He's making really tough plays look easy. Occasionally, he'll catch a breaking ball up in his zone. That's his second home run on the season. He's batting .371, but more importantly, he's getting on base, he's scoring runs, and he's catching everything in center field, much to the delight of his pitchers.
Well, Nieuwenhuis, the rookie, just 2 weeks into his big league career, really providing this team with some energy. And now the Mets will try and get off this 3-game losing streak today, and they'll send Mike Pelfrey to the mound. And the signs have been positive for Pelfrey through his first 2 starts.
You know, he's really throwing that sinker much better and more often, and I think he really fought off some demons last start. Only 1 run in 6 innings at Citizens Bank Park, a tough place for him to pitch. 50 wins in his Met uniform.
And he'll be opposed by one of the real Cinderella stories in baseball last season, Ryan Vogelsong.
The traveling man, 10 minor league cities. He's played in Japan, he's played in Venezuela, he's found a home in San Francisco. 13 wins last year as he made his first All-Star team.
And not distracted at all by the dogs walking on by along the warning track during their pre-game parade. Pelfrey, Vogelsong, and the Canines, Mets and Giants. All the action coming up on Pix 11. Truth in engineering. By Time Warner Cable, enjoy all the things you love better, all from Time Warner Cable. By Mazda, the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. By Lexus and the Lexus RX. And by Revel Resorts. Reserve your room now at revelresorts.com. Here's your chance to win a fantastic at 50 Mets jersey. Just text jersey to 48593 to enter. Message and data rates may apply.
As you're around the majors, brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. The Nationals, behind Ross Detweiler, shut out the Marlins last night 2-0. The Nats are now 11-4 on the season. The Braves beat the Diamondbacks 9-1. The Braves scoring runs in droves. Another big game for Freddie Freeman last night. And the Phillies, who never lose in San Diego, their 13th straight win at Petco Park. They're now 24-4 in that building since it opened. And they get back to 500, winning last night behind the pitching of Cole Hamels.
Well, you see the key to the game. Keys to the game brought to you by Cadillac. Top of the order, keep getting on base. Whether it's Tejada or Nieuwenhuis, they've been doing a great job of getting on, either by the hit or the walk. Middle of the order has to really start driving them in. I think when you saw in last night's game, Ike Davis unable to produce, and Jason Bay late in the game unable to produce, really hurt the Mets. And Pelfrey pitched deep into the game. What's that mean? 7 or 8?
Mets trying to snap out of a 3-game losing skid. First pitch coming up from Citi Field. Brought to you by Toyota. When you choose Toyota, you get a lot for less. Angel Pagan had a home run in his homecoming to Citi Field last night, his first of the year. Aubrey Huff didn't start last night, neither did Nate Scherholtz, with the Mets starting a lefty. They're both in there today. Bruce Bochy had to severely manage his bullpen last night. Wound up using 20 players to finally get that 4-3 10-inning win.
Keith mentioned it at the end of the game when the San Francisco Giants had won. A little smirk from Bochy, like, I can't believe we got this done.
You know, and to revisit something that happened last night, the Mets came up in the bottom of the 10th inning, down by a run, and they got runners to second and third with one out. And Bochy did something that I'm not sure I've ever seen before in that situation. He brought his infield in, which meant that a base hit could have won the game for the Mets. Instead of playing his infield back, allowing the tying run to score and trying to choke off the winning run. And basically he was saying, I got to win or lose this now. It's like being down by 2 in basketball with seconds remaining and trying for the game-winning 3.
That's right. That's right. It was very bold of Bochy, and I guess you can do that when you've been managing 18 years. It gives you the confidence to do what you think you had to do. He was running out of bullpen guys, only had one guy left, and said, let's take our shot here.
I asked Terry Collins about that today. He said it's something you have to do if you think that you don't have enough pitching left. He said he understood why Bochy did it, and he's done it himself in the past, but it's something that rarely comes up. Did we just have a dog run the first pitch in from the mound?
We did. It's Bark in the Park Day, and he had the ball on the mound, ran it in, but it was about 4 inches outside, so ball 1.
I hope we can get a replay of that, because that was fascinating. Now, hopefully Pelfrey will be able to find the plate better than the Pooch.
Well, Pelf has been outstanding so far this year. Here's what we were talking about, the picking up of the ball. And what did I say? It's like in the other's batter's box. Come on.
I think Josh was a little disappointed saying to the dog, come on, you got to do better than that.
Right. You know, Terry Collins was addressing Mike Pelfrey and said that he has been doing a great job combining with Tolley of managing innings, using his sinker, occasionally mixing in his curveball. It's as good as he's seen him here since he's been manager. And look at the defense brought to you by the Lexus RX. Bay, Neuenhuis, and Duda, of course, in the outfield. 13 start in right field, just an error. The everyday infield of Wright, Tejada, Murphy, and Davis, and Josh Tolley playing just about every day. Although Mike Nickias, congrats to him, got out of that 0 for 20 run and got himself a base hit.
Well, the Mets need for the middle of the batting order, as you mentioned earlier, Duda and Bay and Davis to start producing. Last night was a classic example. They had a chance to win the game in the bottom of the 10th and could not get the job done, and the Giants came away with the one-run victory. Angel Pagan will lead things off for San Francisco. Pelfrey has had success against the Giants. 6 career starts, a 2.18 ERA, but he's only 2-2 against the Giants. And you remember he had that game that he pitched against Matt Cain, I think it was 3 years ago, on a Sunday night in San Francisco, and that's when he started to run into those problems with men on base. Committed a couple of balks in that game.
3 balks in that game.
But he has pitched well against San Francisco, and he'll try and get off to a fast start today with Angel Pagan leading off. Pagan 1 for 5 last night, including that home run against John Neese, and Pelfrey starts the day with a fastball inside. You see 93 on the first pitch from Mike, and his velocity has certainly been up early in the season. His average velocity through his first 2 starts on his fastball 2 miles an hour faster than it was last year. And a fastball in for a strike, and it's 1-1.
In this day and age where we spent the whole week talking about pitchers that have lost 2 miles an hour or more on their fastball, nice to see that. The new windup and the ability to use his legs more is the reason that Mike is throwing a little harder.
Melky Cabrera on deck, and then Pablo Sandoval. A ball and 2 strikes to Pagan.
Well, Jonathan Neese struggled in that inning, in the 3rd inning, gave up 3 runs. But other than that, I thought one of his better outings after that.
Certainly settled down nicely and started to get a ton of ground balls after that 3-run inning. And Pelfrey takes care of Pagan with a fastball for the first out of the day.
Well, Pagan, who after last night has 16 home runs at Citi Field, that's second most to David Wright, perfectly placed fastball.
So 1 out and nobody on, and now Melky Cabrera, who had a very good night last night, was on base 4 times, 2 hits and 2 walks. Melky off to a fast start, hitting a .333. Giants with switch hitters in the top 3 spots in their batting order. Pagan, Cabrera, and Sandoval both swing, all swing from both sides. First pitch swinging, grounded out to Murphy, who plays it off to the side and throws out Cabrera 2 out. Not the way they draw it up on the chalkboard for Murph, but he makes the play for the second out. Here's your umpiring crew. Doug Eddings, who's always had a reputation of being a big pitcher's umpire, but may not be quite as much as he used to be. Paul Nard at first, Tanner DeMuth, the crew chief, at second, and Kerwin Danley, who had the plate last night, is over at third. So 2 out and nobody on, and now Sandoval. And the Panda has hit in all 13 games the Giants have played this year, closing in on a San Francisco Giants record. Willie Mays hit in the first 16 games of a season for the Giants.
1960.
We're trying to investigate what the all-time Giants record is from the start of a year, but Willie has the San Francisco version. And Pelfrey quickly ahead of Sandoval, 0-2. Sandoval hitting .340 in the first 13 games. It's a lot of muck on that helmet. I mean, the SF is almost gone. Pine tar out. 0-2 from Pelfrey, and it's just off the plate, and Tolley sitting outside. And we were talking about the catcher's lines being obliterated in Atlanta. Tolley was outside the catcher's lines on that last pitch.
Not obliterated here.
Foul back. Of course, with nobody on base, there's no such thing as a catcher's balk. But the rule is that the catcher has to be between those lines, although it's rarely called. One and two to Sandoval with 2 out and nobody on. And it's taken high, 2-2.
Good pitch by Pelf. Trying to get Sandoval to bite. He did last night. Better eye today.
Buster Posey, the cleanup hitter, on deck. They've been working with Sandoval to try to be a little more patient at the plate. And here he's run the count to 2-2.
It's always the fine line, right? The Mets went through that many seasons with Jose Reyes. And, you know, they're so aggressive. That's how they've learned how to hit. And sometimes you can, there's a fine line between them being aggressive or losing some of the aggressiveness.
Well, you know, the Giants hitting coach is Hensley Mullins, who was nicknamed Bam Bam for a reason.
That's right.
He didn't wait around a whole lot either. Now the 2-2 from Pelfrey, just inside, and a full count to Sandoval.
Good pitch with a purpose by Pelf, just misses inside.
So this will be the 8th pitch of the at bat from Pelfrey to Sandoval. And it's hit in the air to right, facing Duda back a few strides onto the warning track, and right at the Xerox sign to make the grab and end the inning. 1-2-3 go the Giants in the top of the first. Mets come up in the bottom when we come back. Get a lot for less. Kirk Neuenhuis elevated to the leadoff spot for the second time. Ruben Tejada goes back into the 8-hole where he began the season. David Wright's been hot. Josh Tolley's been hot, but the guys in between them have not, as the Mets face 34-year-old Ryan Vogelsong.
He started last season as a non-roster invitee to spring training, ended up being an all-star by midway. Fantastic year, 13 wins, under 3 ERA. Look at the defense brought to you by the Lexus RX. See Cabrera, Pagan, Scherholtz gets to start in right field this afternoon. Sandoval, Burris, Huff, really impressed with Brandon Crawford and how much room he can cover. And Buster Posey behind the plate, not at first base this afternoon.
So here's Neuenhuis, who went 1 for 3 last night, hit his second home run of the year, and became the first Met left-hand hitter ever to go opposite field and hit one over the wall at Citi Field. And Vogelsong starts him off outside for ball 1. That's 250 games, by the way, for the Mets at Citi Field. And Neuenhuis, the first Met lefty ever to clear that left field wall. It would not have cleared the old fence. There's a call strike, and it's 1-1. Neuenhuis now has enough at bats that he qualifies for the league leaders. He's now top 10 in the league in batting average, on base percentage, slugging percentage. And the curveball from Vogelsong misses 2-1. Neuenhuis has certainly made a splash in a short period of time. It's only 35 big league at bats and a dozen games, but he has certainly made an impression in a hurry. Daniel Murphy on deck. Neuenhuis late on the fastball, and it's 2-2.
Got an unusual swing. It's very flat. Kind of runs it right through the strike zone, about just above the letters, or right below the letters, sorry.
And a full count to Kirk leading off. Well, he's been very patient. He's done a nice job of waiting for the pitches he can handle.
Terry Collins was talking about him, said, you know, usually don't envision a big body kind of guy being as your leadoff hitter, but that's the kind of player he is. High on base percentage.
3-2 from Vogelsong, and Neuenhuis goes down swinging on the fastball. That's the first out.
Well, the two fastballs he swung at this at bat, he was a little late, and this one on the 3-2 count just beat him. He swung under that low fastball from Vogelsong.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Daniel Murphy, who went 1 for 5 last night. Murphy hitting at .288 on the year. And he takes the curveball inside for ball 1. Mets didn't do a lot of hitting last night until late in the game. They had just 4 hits over the first 8 innings before they built rallies in the 9th and 10th. There's a strike from Vogelsong, and it's 1-1.
Pretty impressed with Zito, weren't you? That he's really kind of changed his approach to the hitters. Lots of breaking ball. His slider's much sharper.
Give the Mets
changeups.
Give the Mets credit, though. They did work him.
Yeah.
Got him out of the game after 5. Had to throw 100 pitches to get through 5 innings, but the Giants' bullpen was spectacular.
Especially Jeremy Affeldt. You know, he probably doesn't get as much credit as he should. He was just outstanding over his 2 innings of work.
Now it's 2-1 to Murphy, and he fights one off. 2-2.
You know, that's one of the joys of doing these teams that come in from the West Coast. You don't see them a lot, and you don't get to see Affeldt pitch a lot. And you know that fastball's got a lot of sink on it, gets a lot of ground balls.
See John Neese, after his start last night, certainly pitched well, other than the 1 inning. 2-2 to Murphy, and he fouls it away. Vogelsong making just his 2nd start of the year. He began the year late. He strained his lower back during spring training doing squats, and so he missed most of the spring. And so they pushed his first start back to this past Sunday, when he pitched well and beat the Pirates, going 6 1/3. Murphy takes one the other way, and he's got a base hit. Over goes Cabrera to plate. He bobbles it, and that'll send Murphy to second. Well, Murphy might have had a mind to try for 2 anyway, but when Melky Cabrera juggled it, Murphy takes second easily on what has scored a single and an error.
Well, good hitting by Murph late in the count. Of course, you know he tries to go the other way, kind of slaps at it, peels it down the left field line, and Cabrera takes his eye off it just for a second. And once he fumbles with it, the way you get to the second base on this, though, is Murph hustling all the way, not taking advantage of that error by Cabrera.
So the Mets have a runner in scoring position, and David Wright, who needs an RBI to be the Mets all-time club leader in that category, steps in with a hefty .486 batting average. And David swings at the slider and misses, 0-1.
Did you say last night the straw man called him yesterday?
Did, yeah. Called him to congratulate him for tying him. I don't know if he'll get another call when he breaks the record.
No.
Ike Davis on deck.
Classy move by Straw.
David's hit in all 10 games this year, and he's been on base at least twice in every one. Longest such string to start the season in 13 years. And it's on the inside corner. Vogelsong gets a call, and it's 0-2. Kenny Lofton had a 12-game streak to start the year in '99. And 3 other players had 10 or more. Murphy at second and 1 out. And Posey goes down to get it. A ball and 2 strikes. David last night reached base 3 times, drew a couple of walks, and then gave the Mets a chance late with a big base hit in the 10th inning. Taps one to the right side, and Burris slides over to get it. That's the second out, and Murphy moves over to third. So 2 out in the inning, and it's left to Ike Davis. Ike had a very rough night at the plate last night, going 0 for 5 with a couple of strikeouts. He was the guy Clay Hensley was brought in to face in the 10th inning. Mets at first and second and nobody out. Ike went after the first pitch, shattered his bat, and grounded out. So it's not coming easily for Ike, who's now hitting $140 on the year. Just 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position. You look at the numbers in the middle of that order: Davis, Bay, and Duda. And with runners in scoring position, that trio, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters, are a combined 5 for 46.
Well, that's why you can have a great on-base percentage as a team and not be scoring a lot of runs.
That's a 4th in the league in on-base percentage, 5th in the league in home runs, but only 13th in runs scored. Ike takes one the other way, foul, and it's 0-2.
It was interesting. Terry Collins was saying today that he thought Ike in last night's ball game was trying to hit the ball to the opposite field. I didn't see that. I thought it was he was maybe late on some pitches up that ended up peeling into left field. But when Ike is on the ball, he drives the ball to left field. He doesn't hit pop-ups to left field.
Now Vogelsong ahead 0-2. And he gets Davis with the high fastball and gets through the inning. Second strikeout for Vogelsong, and the Mets strand a runner at third. No score after 1. Local Chevy dealer or visit ChevyOffers.com. Buster Posey leads off the second inning for the Giants. Posey red hot right now, 9 for 16 over the last 4 games. Hitting .375 for the year, 5th in the National League. And Pelfrey starts him off with a fastball away for ball 1.
Playing a lot of Boz Skaggs in between innings. That's the San Francisco guy, isn't he?
Lido Shuffle?
There you go.
Posey played first base last night. Back behind the plate today. And a high fastball, 1-1. And it was interesting. We talked about some of the managerial moves Bruce Bochy made last night. In the 9th inning, he took Posey out and brought in Brandon Belt to play first base. And he could have moved Posey behind the plate to try and save him in case the game went to extra innings. Well, Belt made a great defensive play, throwing out Neuenhuis at the plate to keep the winning run from scoring in the 9th. And then when Posey's spot came up, here's the 2-1 pitch. Lined the other way, and Murphy snags it. Nice job by Murph with a little hop to his left. 1 out.
Well, the players will be on Murph later for this, not exactly Windex here, as he goes up about 2 feet, but he makes the play. Nice timing on that play. That's right.
Anyway, then when the Giants came up in the 10th inning, Posey's out of the game. But they had left the rookie catcher, Hector Sanchez, in to catch, and he winds up getting the game-winning hit.
Right.
So it made Bochy look brilliant all the way around.
My only thought was, because I couldn't believe he did it, when I was driving home last night, I was thinking, you know what? They have been treating him kind of with kid gloves, so the day game after a night game, maybe getting him out of there earlier.
Aubrey Huff, the batter. And Huff breaks his bat, loops one behind second, and right there is Tejada for the second out. So Pelfrey set down the first 5. 2 out, nobody on, and here's Nate Shearholtz. Shearholtz didn't start last night, came off the bench, went 0 for 1, and it was he who drew the intentional walk in front of Sanchez, who got the game-winning hit for the Giants in the 10th. Shearholtz off to a good start at the bat, hitting it even 300, and a very good defensive outfielder to boot. Ronnie, are the Texas Rangers not a juggernaut?
Oh, man.
They just put an 8 spot up against Rick Porcello in the top of the first in Detroit.
They are just loaded.
And Porcello had been pitching very well. Is that backdoor slider for a strike, and it's 0-2.
There's just no outs in that lineup. Napoli is supposed to be one of your outs. He had home runs in 5 straight games.
Napoli was their best hitter second half of the year last year. Porcello stayed in for the whole inning to absorb that punishment. Here's the 0-2 to Shearholtz, and it's taken high.
And you got Kinsler leading off, who can hit a home run at any time. Michael Young hitting second, always has 200+ hits a year. Josh Hamilton, who's the natural. Nelson Cruz, as much damage as anyone in the game.
There's the splitter from Pelfrey, the pitch that we had thought that he wasn't throwing anymore, but got a lot of mileage out of that in his last start against the Phillies.
He goes back and forth. If it's working, he'll stay with it. If it doesn't, he'll go to that circle change.
Now the 2-2, and the fastball low inside, a full count to Shearholtz. So Pelfrey goes from 0-2 to 3-2 against Shearholtz. Mike does not have a win yet this year, but the signs have been very encouraging. 3-2, and Shearholtz bangs one into center field for a base hit. So the Giants had their first base runner of the day, a 2-out single.
Well, Shearholtz has made himself into a fine offensive player. You talked about his defense, but he's done a nice job with that high leg kick. He's a low ball hitter all the way and working the middle of the field.
So 2 out and a runner on, and now Emmanuel Burris, the second baseman, went 1 for 4 last night. Burris hitting a .276. Switch hitter, and he takes high and away. Burris has been sharing second base with Ryan Theriot, and we didn't know this till after the game last night, but Theriot actually was not here. The Giants were playing a man short. Theriot had been ill and was not allowed to take the Giants charter flight Thursday night. In fact, we're not sure if he's here now. Behind the bag at second, Tejada will go to first with it, and he gets Burris to end the inning. Last we heard, Theriot was en route. No score in the middle of the second. Beautiful day to bring the kids to the ballpark, keep them hydrated. Jason Bay leading off in the bottom of the second. Bay had a home run last night, but his night ended badly. Batting in the 10th inning, second and third, one out. Mets down by a run. Infield in. One thing you can't do in that spot, strike out.
No, yeah.
And Jason got a bad call early in the at bat on a pitch that was outside, called a strike, and then he chased one outside for strike three.
Well, he had a big at bat early in the year. He took a strike three, and he didn't want to do that again.
That was that Larry Vanover play when Terry Collins wound up getting ejected. Well, he hit his third home run last night, a lot earlier than in each of his first 2 years with the Mets. He had 6 home runs in 2010, then 12 last year. So if he doubles the total again this year, he'll be in pretty good shape.
That's right.
Now Vogelsong behind him, 3-1. Jason's hit in 6 straight games. Had a couple of hits last night. Wound up scoring the tying run in the 9th after an infield hit. Weak ground ball out to Crawford at short. And he gets Bay by 2 strides for the first out. So 1 out and nobody on. Lucas Duda coming up. Duda came off the bench last night, went 0 for 2. Hitting 188 for the year. Terry was making an interesting point today, talking about both Davis and Duda, who takes a curveball for a strike. He said sometimes, you know, we celebrate these young sluggers for their power hitting ability, and it's very easy for them to get wrapped up in the idea that that's what they are, just sluggers. And both Davis and Duda are better hitters when they're using the gaps.
Using the gaps, and they have power to all fields. You know, you and I talk about this all the time with Keith, is that, you know, a guy like Tejada or maybe a Tolley, they hit a home run. They've got to not be intoxicated by hitting the ball over the fence. Go back to what makes them a good hitter. I think the same thing can happen to sluggers, can it? I mean, Lucas's main contribution so far has been his 3 home runs, and 2 of them came in 1 game. And I think it can be intoxicating for a young player, a young slugger, to say, you know what, I'm going to have a big home run year. You know what they need him to do? Just have a big doubles and hit 300 or hit 280.
Well, the other thing about a guy like Duda, a shallow fly ball to left. Crawford with the angle coming across, and he makes a nice play. Boy, he has had a very impressive series so far, particularly going back on pop-ups.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was this kind of defensive player. He covers tons of ground, very sure hands. He just gets Sandoval out of the play. I got it. I mean, that is not an easy play. That's a long way to run with a left-handed Duda that is shading the second base and almost has to go all the way to the patrons there before reels that in.
Here's Josh Tolley. I was going to say about Duda, and the same is true of Ike as well. They're both so strong. You would figure if they just concentrate on hitting the ball hard, they'll hit home runs by accident.
Yeah, I think that you know, no need for an Adam Dunn type of year here. You know, you want Dudas and Davis are both kind of guys that should hit 275 plus.
Well, they'd settle for an Adam Dunn night
Right?
last night. Dunn finally had that signature game for the White Sox. A couple of homers, 5 RBIs against Seattle.
Well, he's come out of the gate a little quicker, maybe not with the average, but as far as the power is concerned.
Ruben Tejada on deck. Vogelsong again gets ahead 0-2. And Tolley tries to hold up, and he held it in time. Kerwin Danley with the safe sign, 1-2.
Isn't it funny when you're going good, you get that call? Because it was very funny. I don't think he swung at the pitch, but the way he acted with his elbows and shoulders, it almost looked like he went around.
And Josh goes down swinging. So Vogelsong gets the side 1-2-3. That's his 3rd strikeout. After 2 at Citi Field, Mets and Giants, no score. traffic in the neighborhoods. Lots of stuff to do on a Saturday preparatory to what could be an ugly day tomorrow. There's a Pablo Sandoval fan. Got her panda hat on. And she's still trying to figure the whole thing out. All she knows is it's fun being with Dad. Brandon Crawford leads off in the third inning and fouls one at the plate. Crawford is 0 for his last 13. Took an 0 for 3 last night, but pretty impressive swing of the bat.
Really did. He had that, we showed it in the pregame, that liner to center field that Neuenhuis made a nice play on. That was off the bat of Crawford.
And he also sent Bay back to the warning track with a long fly ball to left. There's a strike from Pelfrey, and it's 0-2.
Doug Eddings, the umpire, has tipped his cap to these pitchers, both right-handers today. He's going to give them a little up and outside to the left-handed hitter.
Well, we mentioned earlier, Doug, when he first came up as an umpire, had a well-earned reputation for being a pitcher's ump, and it seemed the last few years he kind of pulled back on that.
Well, you and I went to an umpire's kind of seminar the other day, and it really was instructional in how they said that when pitchers kind of go off the reservation, how they make sure that they come back to where they want them to umpire.
Well, every umpire gets graded after every game based on the system that they have now in place at all 30 major league ballparks. And so they know by the next morning exactly how they did on their balls and strikes. A little breaking ball hit out to left, and Bay is right in front of it. And Crawford retired. One away.
Before, Pelfrey just used to really rest his hands on his chest before he proceeded to the plate. He's changed. Now he brings the ball over his head, kind of sits there, gathers, which I love. See, his eyes are always on the target. And then because he's really stopped in the middle of his windup, he can really push off and use the full 6'7" that he is.
Here's Ryan Vogelsong. You know, I don't know if it means anything, but I know this as an observer. When Pelfrey uses that full windup, hands over the heads, he almost feels more intimidating.
That's a good call. His hands are so high that he becomes almost 7 feet tall with the glove. And he gets that nice angle, because that's the key for him, is that any sinker ball pitcher, you don't want to get underneath the baseball and push it, right? You want it to really come out of your fingers at the apex of what you can let it go at. And he's doing that now.
Vogelsong, a pretty good hitting pitcher, lifetime 204. And he goes down swinging on the fastball. Second strikeout for Pelfrey.
I don't know, there's a lot of no nonsense in Pelfrey so far out of the gate in April. You know, there's not a lot of machinations. There's not a lot of walking around. It's getting the ball and delivering the ball. And I just think that is just so perfect in his approach.
Of course, the test for Mike is more so when he has men on base.
Men on base, and when he has an inning where he's got it limited to 1 or 2 instead of 5, 6, 7.
Here's Pagan, who struck out his first time up, and Angel takes a slider for ball 1.
Pretty good respect here from Angel. When he was in a Mets uniform, he would attempt to bunt at least once a game. He knows how good David is over there.
Lined over David and down the left field line. Pagan will turn first and head for second as Babe plays the carom, and Angel's in standing with a 2-out double.
Well, fastball wants to get in. You know what? He did get in. Sometimes you make a proper pitch that was waist high, and Angel just fought it off. Good hitting by Angel.
So the Giants had their second hit off Pelfrey. First time they've had a runner in scoring position. The Giants, like the Mets, have had big-time problems driving runners in.
Gary, you think Angel was surprised by the reaction he got last night?
The good part of the reaction or the bad part of the reaction?
The bad part of the reaction.
Here's Melky Cabrera. I'm not sure. I do know this, that if you're not an iconic player coming back the way, say, Reyes is going to on Tuesday night, there's a general tendency to boo you if you're in an enemy uniform. He got a few cheers last night, but especially after you hit the home run. There were none of those left.
Yeah.
I remember when Piazza came back here for the first time as a Padre. He got a huge cheer first time, hit a home run. Got a slightly smaller cheer the second time, hit another home run. By the third at bat, they were booing.
Which is the ultimate respect, right?
2-1 to Cabrera. And if I recall correctly, he came pretty close to hitting a third.
He did. Well, I think he came up at the end with a chance to put the Padres ahead and hit one to left center at the big Shea.
Two and 1 to Melky, and Pelfrey misses low and away to fall behind 3-1. Cabrera grounded out to second base his first trip.
In the maturation process, you got a runner on. I'm not saying you want to use the base that's open, but make your pitch. Don't give in to the hitter.
And he misses wide for ball 4, so Cabrera's aboard. And that'll bring up Sandoval with 2 men on.
Danny Worthing coming out. Just to remind Pelf, as all the infield is going to come in also, just to remind Pelf of what kind of hitter Sandoval is, that he will chase just about anything. Make sure if you get ahead of him, do not have to throw another strike. It's interesting when Worthing comes out to talk to Pelfrey, as almost like a sign of solidarity. All the infielders always come in.
So Sandoval bats for the second time. He sent Duda back on the warning track in right center his first time up. We mentioned that he's hit in 13 straight to start the year, and that the San Francisco record belongs to Willie Mays, 16. Our intrepid stat guy looked it up. The modern record, including the New York Giants years, is 18. Johnny Rucker in 1945. 2 out and 2 on for Sandoval. Ground ball toward the middle of the diamond, and that's through for a base hit. That'll chase home Pagan with the game's first run. Cabrera goes to third. So Sandoval, first pitch swinging, that's his want. And he's got his 10th RBI and a 14-game hitting streak to start the year. The Giants in front 1-0.
Well, not a bad pitch by Pelf. The ball down, the slider. This better hitting by Sandoval, who's red hot. Slider down. The only problem you have there is more of the middle of the plate. And Sandoval sent it right up the middle. Pagan will score easily. And Mets fans been watching him with that great speed. And Melky first to third.
So after 2 out and nobody on, the double from Pagan, a walk to Cabrera, and Sandoval cashes a run. Now Buster Posey, who lined out to Murphy his first time up. And nice stop by Tolde going to the backhand, 1-0. Giants last night were just 2 for 14 with runners in scoring position, but they come up with a hit in their first opportunity today.
Posey's one of those guys, when he stands in the batter's box, he looks like he's going to get a hit every time. Very patient, seems to see the ball one more click more than most people. And a classic swing.
Aubrey Huff waiting on deck. Now Pelfrey's 1-1. And the slider off the plate, 2-1. Buster Posey coming back after the devastating ankle injury that cost him the last 4 months of last season. And he has come out of the box smoking. Ignores that sinker, and now it's 3-1. Well, Pelfrey had 2 out and nobody on, but now having trouble closing the door on this top of the third. A run already in, first and third, and the Giants' best hitter at the plate with a 3-1 count. And Posey rips one right at Tejada, knocks it down, still has time, and throws out Posey to end the inning. A hot shot from Posey, and Tejada able to make the play. But the first run of the game brought to you by Chevy. Nissan sales a minute. Save on your new Nissan. Visit ChooseNissan.com or your local Nissan dealers. Some of the crowd gathered on Bark in the Park Day. These are the humans. Some of the dogs were nice enough to bring along some humans.
Very nice.
We go to the bottom of the third. Mets down 1-0. Ruben Tejada down in the 8-hole today. Just 2 hits in his last 16 at bats. And a strike called. Kevin Burkhart's on assignment. Tiffany Simons filling in. Tiffany.
Guys, I asked Daniel Murphy to tell me something about Ruben Tejada that we might not know. And he said Ruby Tuesday is hilarious. Now, I don't know why that's the nickname. Apparently, it was just a natural fit. But he said there's a quiet strength about Ruben. There's a confidence that he doesn't have to vocalize. The team knows it. And he calls their relationship on the field a blessing. If anything, Ruben helps calm Murphy's heart rate. And he says situationally, he reminds me of little things throughout the game. And he said, I don't even think Ruben realizes that's what he's doing. So in spite of his young age, that's the kind of teammate you want next to you out on the field.
Ruby Tuesday, huh?
That's it.
That's nice, Tiffany.
Cash your dreams before they slip away.
There you go.
Love the salad bar.
Oh, that's right.
0-2 to Tejada.
Well, people would know more about the salad bar than your Stones reference.
Maybe so. Sandoval in front of the ground ball. Throws out Tejada, 1 away. So Vogelsong rolling right through the Mets. First time through the order. Gave up a hit to Murphy in the first inning, but nothing more. Mike Pelfrey just a shade under 100 for his career. Has a hit in 4 at bats this season. Ryan Vogelsong is some story. He started out drafted by the Giants in 1998, and he has paid off for them in a number of ways. Last year was certainly a Cinderella for him, his return to the Giants. But after his initial stint with San Francisco, they traded him to the Pirates and got their ace pitcher, Jason Schmidt, in that deal. Schmidt was their best pitcher for 4 or 5 years. Then Vogelsong's career appeared to be over. After a few years in Pittsburgh where he struggled, he went to Japan where he pitched in 07, 08, and 09. In 2010, he decided to give it one more shot back in the States. Pitched in the Phillies system. They released him. Pitched in the Angels system. They didn't want him back. Took a minor league invite to camp with the Giants last year. Had a very good spring training. And right from the start of the season, he was spectacular. In a situation where absolutely nothing was expected of him. And Dave Righetti certainly gets some of the credit for that. But just the persistence of Vogelsong to reach this point. Sandoval throws out Pelfrey, and there are 2 out.
Not only that, he went through some injuries, Tommy John surgery. One of the few major leaguers to come from Kutztown University. It's in PA, right?
It's the alma mater of Bruce Harper.
Oh, I'm just trying to learn Mets trivia with you. I can't go with Jets trivia.
Well, the pride of Kutztown State against the pride of Azusa Pacific in this at bat. As Kirk Neuenhuis steps in. Probably the most famous prior major leaguer from Azusa Pacific was a pitcher for the Reds back in the 80s. Remember Paul Moskow?
Oh, yeah.
He went to Azusa Pacific. Neuenhuis, one of just a half dozen from that school to make it to the big leagues, Division II school. Ball to strike to Kirk. Daniel Murphy on deck. When you talk about Kutztown, by the way, you're supposed to always throw in the adjective tiny Kutztown State.
Oh, okay. Tiny.
Neuenhuis has been late on that Vogelsong fastball 2 or 3 times already.
It's almost like he's not picking it up. Fastball middle, little up.
Struck out Davis with a high fastball as well.
Anyone who talks about Vogelsong always says that he's sneaky fast.
Well, Vogelsong last year made the All-Star team after not having played in the major leagues in the 4 previous years. That hadn't happened since just after World War II. Fouled into the glove of the catcher Posey, and that's 4 strikeouts for Ryan Vogelsong. He's set down 8 in a row, and the Giants have a 1-0 lead after 3. Tackling swindlers and fighting for you. Plus, Greg Mocker is always on the trail of something different. Weeknights at 5 and 10 on the Pix 11 News. Aubrey Huff leads off the 4th inning and takes a strike from Mike Pelfrey. Huff trying to bounce back from a dreadful year last year. Had a huge hand in the Giants' World Championship success in 2010 and then fell off the shelf last season. Now 35 years old and not off to a good start.
The golden thong must have lost some of its charm.
Nate Shearholt's on deck. Has a curveball for a strike, 1-2. Well, sometimes those championship quirks,
like rally monkeys and all those kind of things.
Rally monkey. Well, last year they rally squirrel.
Rally squirrel. They have 1 year.
Which, by the way, is on the Cardinals' World Championship ring.
Really?
There's a rally squirrel, a tiny one right on the side. Or idiots, for that matter. That only lasts so long.
Yeah.
You know? Little flare off to the left side and over comes right into foul ground. And Huff retired one away.
What was the other thing they had last year, Cardinals? A happy flight.
Happy flight. That started with down the stretch when they kept winning their getaway games. I think it was like 11 in a row.
Yeah.
They won the last game of a series before flying. Rafael Furcal started that. I mean, the last 2 years, the stories of the Giants winning and the Cardinals winning are extraordinary. Here's Shearholtz, and he takes a strike.
That's why you can never know. I mean, in spring training last year when they lost Wainwright, a lot of people threw up their arms. Well, the Cardinals don't have a chance now.
Well, remember, we left there in late September after the Mets came from 4 runs down to win the last game of a series against the Cardinals, and it looked like they were toast.
It was a Wednesday or Thursday day game, and the Mets came from behind, and you just figured that gave it to Atlanta. The Mets winning that game. The next night, they lost 1-0, the Cardinals, and still were able to, with the help of Atlanta, get in the playoffs.
1-2 to Shearholtz, and then, you know, later on, for a team to be down to their final strike twice in Game 6, in some ways more extraordinary than your guys' comeback in Game 6.
I agree. That one ball to right field that Freese hit, that Cruz had the bad hamstring.
He froze on.
He froze. He just wasn't aggressive enough at it.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't take anything away from Freese.
No. What a postseason he had.
I mean, just that game. The hit to tie it up, and then they hit later on the home run to win it.
Center field.
And you know, you've been through that. You win a game 6 like that, it's like you know you're going to win game 7.
Everything's in a row. The stars are aligned.
Davis has it. He'll take it himself and beats Shearholtz to the bag for the second out. So 2 up and 2 set aside by Pelfrey in the 4th. And now Emmanuel Burris will be the batter. Steven Strasburg's at it again, matched up against the Marlins and Anibal Sanchez. No score in the bottom of the 4th.
Nationals won 2-0 last night, right?
Detweiler pitched that game. They're 11-4 now. Everybody in the National League East, by the way, is now 500 or above. Braves have gone on quite a march after losing their first 4 of the year.
They've lost once in the last 10 games or something like that.
And they're scoring 7.5 runs per game, which I think is the most shocking part of that. Of course, that 14-run outburst on Wednesday didn't hurt.
Yeah, they can thank the Mets for that. 23 runs in 2 days.
But they scored 9 more last night, going out and winning their first game of their road trip in Arizona. Out to right field, and Duda is right there. And that retires the side. So Pelfrey sets him down 1-2-3. Mets will come up in the bottom of the 4th with the big hitters coming up, down 1-0. They're here at Citi Field for the second game of this series as the Mets try and even things up with the Giants. Down 1-0 as Daniel Murphy leads off against Ryan Vogelsong. Murphy the only man to reach over the first 3 innings. Single to left his first time up. And he takes a changeup up and away for ball 1. Murphy's now hit in 4 straight games, edging his batting average back toward 300.
That little shot we showed the Chrysler Building. I have a buddy, Dennis Stein, that I go to see in the Chrysler Building, and I always feel like I'm going in and going to see Perry White.
The Daily Planet?
Exactly.
David Wright on deck, and then Ike Davis for the Mets. Wouldn't you rather run into Lois Lane?
That's right. One of the Art Deco kind of building.
2-1 now to Murphy. Well, if you see a guy in a cape jumping out the window, you'll know you're in the right place.
Just keep me away from Jimmy. He's a little nervous for me.
Cub reporter. Off the fists of Murphy, and it's 2-2. One of the most interesting facts that I learned about Ryan Vogelsong today. And this is a little troubling to me, and maybe it is to you as a former pitcher. Since 2004, Ryan Vogelsong has been the part owner of a bat company in Louisiana. Now, to me, that sounds like an exterminator breeding termites.
Yeah.
Out to right center field, and that'll find the gap for Murphy. And Pagan does a nice job cutting it off, and Murphy will get to second anyway as Pagan flings it back in, and Murph has a double. So Daniel Murphy is 2 for 2, the only man who has been able to reach against Vogelsong.
Yeah, everyone's been struggling to pick up the ball from Vogelsong, not Murph. Little down and in slider. It was supposed to be backdoor, and Murphy shoots that gap. Nice play by Pagan, but Murph, plenty of time to get into second base.
So Murphy has his 5th double of the year.
The Marucci Bat Company?
I mean, is that a little troubling to you that a pitcher is supporting a bat company?
Yeah, that is tempting karma way too much.
Here's Wright, another chance for that historic RBI. Unless he takes a knee-high strike.
Unless you're making the bats for the opposition.
Well, that's what I mean.
I'm saying you're making them poorly. Bad wood.
Oh, I see. Well, we wouldn't stay in business for very long if that were the case. Well, sabotage. Good rip by David, and it's 0-2. Vogelsong has struck out 4. He's walked none. Allowed no runs and 2 hits. Ike Davis to follow. That's got Murphy to second with 1 out in the first. Couldn't bring him home. Now he's at second with nobody out. Just inside to David.
You know, the thing about Vogelsong is that everyone who talks about him says it's really hard to pick up. Ball almost comes out of a chute. And if you watch right behind him on his pitch to Murph, you never really see the baseball. He'll show it a little there, but then it's behind his chest, behind his head. And at the very last second comes right out of that chute. It's sneaky fast. A lot of hitters so far have been late.
Strike 3 call. He came right back to the inside corner, and this time got the call from Doug Eddings for the first out.
Well, the first pitch was a slider. This pitch was a fastball. I talked about this corner earlier with Doug Eddings. He seems to be given a little more on that outside, but that's a pretty darn good pitch.
On the block.
What do we hear in the umpire seminar? They're allowed 2 inches.
2 inches either side of the plate. The proverbial black. So 1 out now. Ike Davis, who struck out his first time up. Murphy at second and 1 out. Shortstop Crawford playing right behind Murph, so he can't get far away from the bag. And Ike Davis in questioning mode after that first strike. You can do that with Davis up. You're going to shade to the pull side anyway. Jason Bay waiting on deck. Davis now 3 for 21 with runners in scoring position. And that's in the dirt. 2-1.
You know, Murph, he's always thinking of maybe taking that extra base with Sandoval way off the line, but Crawford, like you said, Gary, shading the pull. He's right behind the base runner, and any base runner will tell you, the guy right behind you, it's almost impossible to get a big lead.
And that might cut down his chance of scoring on a base hit. Another fastball that beats Ike. Normally you think 89, 90 mile an hour fastballs are not going to be thrown by people on a regular basis, but how many swings and misses has he gotten already with that fastball?
And it's not a lot of movement on that pitch there. It's pretty straight.
Vogelsong trying to beat the Mets for the second time ever. The first time 8 years ago as a Pirate. Mike wastes that one away. Still 2-2. And Davis watches wide. Now a full count. Ike is 0 for his last 9. Looking to get off the schneid here and get the tying run home from second. Here's the 3-2. And the breaking ball struck him out. 3-2 curve from Vogelsong for his 6th strikeout. Two away.
People ask you all the time, how do you succeed at this level if you're a pitcher who doesn't throw 100 miles an hour? You got to be able to get your secondary pitches over when you have a 3-2 count. You have the ability to throw any pitch you want on that count. Advantage pitcher.
That's a great shot right there. The change of expression on Ike's face from when he started the swing to when he realized he'd been had. Here's Bay, and Jason takes up and away for ball 1. That instant moment of recognition. Oh, it's got a wrinkle.
Yes.
I'm in trouble. Bay grounded out to short his first time up. Murphy led off with a double. He's still at second with 2 out. And it's outside, ball 2. Vogelsong has rarely been behind in the count today, but now twice has been behind on Bay. Lucas Duda on deck. Fell behind Bay 3-1 his first time up. Now he's 2-0. Jason homered last night, and he takes a letter high strike. 2-1.
Interesting. You don't see many hitters. David Ortiz does. Maybe that's where he picked up this habit of wearing the sunglasses when you hit. You don't see a lot of guys do that.
And that curveball drops in for a strike. 2-2.
2-0 throws a little cutter. 2-1 throws a little curveball. Now he can throw whatever he wants to throw. It'd be pretty interesting if he tries to pitch him like he did David Wright with that fastball in after all the slow stuff.
Mets are already 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position today after going 1 for 10 last night. Now the 2-2 to Bay, and he goes down swinging. Vogelsong gives up a leadoff double to Murphy, and then strikes out the 3, 4, and 5 hitters. Wright, Davis, and Bay all go down, and it's still Afternoon and Monday night. Then the Marlins come in Tuesday night. Brandon Crawford tries to bunt his way on as we start the fifth. Fifth inning brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Visit your tri-state Ford dealers today. Crawford flying to left his first time up. Now hitless in his last 14 at-bats. The pitcher Vogelsong on deck, and then Angel Pagan in the fifth. Mike Pelfrey's looked sharp. Ball and a strike to Crawford. Pelfrey allowed a run in the third, gave up a 2-out double to Pagan and a run-scoring hit to Sandoval, and that's been it. Splitter that time, and it's 1-2. That splitter was a pitch that Pelfrey made a lot of mileage from in 2010, the first half of the year.
But what happened is that he got away from his sinker. So the best way to have an effective fork ball, split finger, is to throw it off your sinker, because that way the ball's low in the zone. They're used to seeing it low, and they'll go for it.
One of the hundreds of pooches on hand today. Nicely dressed. Tejada with a nice grab of the line drive. And Crawford retired one away. Well, I think also that splitter became a surprise pitch for Pelfrey early in 2010 as he'll get the grab by Tejada. But I think he overused it, and I think the scouting report started to work against him, and he didn't have any place to go at that point.
Well, his walks went up because the hitters were taking that pitch, and they were always in hitters' counts.
Vogelsong takes a curve for a strike, and I think that pitch is important for Pelfrey, and he's begun to throw his curve more this season. And I think that's a nice complementary pitch for him. That way he can mix in the splitter without throwing it too much.
And it's a great pitch to throw to a pitcher. And you say, why would you throw it to a pitcher? Sometimes you can go through the whole lineup and not throw it. So the best place to experiment with it is when the pitcher comes up, because even if you hang it, chances are they're not going to put it in play unless you're facing, you know, the elite hitters.
And really, when you throw a first pitch curveball, even if you hang it, how often does that ball get hit out of the ballpark?
Yeah, you have to take it for the most part.
Here's the 1-2, and Vogelsong with a good rip. We mentioned he's a pretty good hitter and part owner for Bat Company.
That's why.
He saves the best wood for himself. Struck out his first time up today. Pelfrey has struck out 2. And the comebacker, and Mike uses most of his 6'7", and there are 2 out. So Pelf's now retired 6 in a row.
The Mets pitchers have been better at bat, better at getting bunts down, and also fielding their position a lot better.
So 2 out and nobody on, which is exactly where Pelfrey was in the third inning when he faced Pagan. Pagan took one the other way for a 2-out double and wound up scoring what to this point has been the only run of the game. Again, right in on the grass against Pagan, who takes a strike. Traffic on the Shea Bridge. A lot of people parked and even double parked.
Just hanging out.
Was that the Mets version of Fireman Ed that we just passed by?
No, don't bring Fireman Ed.
There he is. He is. He's ready for action, man. Maybe a little warm in that outfit.
All you need is for the alarm to go off.
Well, he's prepared for any eventuality. I know that.
How long has Fireman Ed been around for the Jets?
Probably late 80s.
Really?
2-1. Line toward the middle, and Pagan's got another hit. So Angel Pagan is 2 for 3. And again, he prolongs an inning against Pelfrey, and now Mike has to be aware of the stolen base possibility.
A little sinker away, but catches more of the middle of the plate. Down hitter is Pagan and laces a single to center.
I'm not sure how long Fireman Ed's been around, but he came into prominence by degrees.
Oh, he did.
In other words, he was there, but it's only the last few years he's been quite as celebrated.
A cult phenomenon.
Now he has his own smartphone out.
Oh, I will say, you know, I go to the Jets games. I don't know that much about the Jets, but every single time he starts to do his thing, it surprises me. I'm like, what is everyone doing?
Cabrera takes a strike. Well, you may not know that much about what's going on at Jet games, but you do know how to spell.
That's right.
I mean, it's only 4 letters.
That's right. You know my personality. I refuse to do that.
Oh, well.
Refuse.
I've got my own problems in that regard. Throw to first, and just back is Pagan. My problem is that, especially football games that come during the baseball season, I would yell too much.
Oh.
I would have trouble working the next day.
Oh, that's bad.
So I've had to restrain myself. Line toward the middle, and Tejada just tall enough to grab it. Side retired. Right at the apex of his leap. 2 line drives in the inning, snagged by Tejada. And he got him just high enough to take a hit away from Cabrera. Night 2 hits tonight, but Angel occasionally will have his misadventures on the bases. 2 out. Line drive to short. I guess he didn't know how many out there were.
He would always play hard. He's probably one of the better athletes to ever put on a Mets uniform, but those are the things that would drive Mets fans crazy.
Lucas Duda leads off in the home 5th inning and takes a curveball a little bit high from Vogelsong. The 5th inning brought to you by Ford. Check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Visit your Tri-State Ford dealers today. Duda popped to short his first time up. And Vogelsong misses high. 2-0. Duda, Tolley, and Tejada for the Mets in the bottom of the 5th. Mets have had 2 hits. They both belong to Murphy. Vogelsong has not walked a batter, and he struck out 7. His career high in strikeouts is 8. He's done that 4 times, and he's just 1 shy of that. Never better than in the 4th inning when he gave up the leadoff double to Murphy and struck out Wright, Davis, and Bay in succession. Just misses to Duda. 3-1.
The Giant starters have to be the best in baseball pitching in these kind of games, right? Low scoring, 1-run lead.
Well, 1 through 5 in the rotation, it's hard to find any other staff to compare with what the Giants are running out there every day. Lincecum, I know, has struggled, but he's a two-time Cy Young Award winner, and you have to figure he's going to find himself. But Matt Cain's been extraordinary. Zito's off to a great start. Bumgarner's only 22 and just got rewarded with a big contract. And Vogelsong picking up where he left off last year.
You know, I also think they have a strength, and each pitcher is so completely different than the other.
Along the left field line, and Cabrera over for a look, but that's beyond his reach and foul. Well, in Cain, you've got the classic power pitcher.
Yeah.
Lincecum is the freak. Zito, 84 miles an hour with the great curveball.
That's right. Little slider. Bumgarner, probably the most unusual of all of them. Probably has that kind of straight arm, throws about 3/4, negates the left-handed hitters. And Vogelsong, as we've seen today, just the paints the corners.
If you can say of Bumgarner he's the most unusual on a staff that includes Lincecum, that's pretty amazing. Another foul ball. Sandoval tracking this one to the railing, and it's out of play. Bumgarner just got a contract very early in his career before arbitration kicks in, and Cain closer to free agency, getting the big numbers.
Probably the first time you've ever seen a staff get 2 multi-year contracts, and the guy that has 2 Cy Youngs does not.
Well, the Giants reached out to Lincecum after they signed Bumgarner and said, look, we want to sign you long-term too. Curveball too high, ball 4, and Duda's on with a leadoff walk. First walk given up by Vogelsong, and the Mets have the leadoff man on for the second straight inning. Now, you know, if Lincecum throws in a couple more clunkers, the Giants might reconsider whether they want to be tying him up long term. And the other guy the Giants reached out to and told that they wanted to sign to a long term deal, and this goes without saying, is Buster Posey. Tolle struck out his first time up, and the backdoor slider misses for ball 1.
They might not have had the August and September of that '69 Met staff, but they were pretty good coming down the stretch in September.
2010, they had 18 straight games the opponent scored 3 or less.
Wow.
Takes a lot of pressure off the rest of the club, doesn't it?
Yep. And that's not 3 runs or less and just getting by. These are guys punching out 10, 12, 14.
But you're right, the '69 Mets probably had the best pitching September ever. Pulled toward the hole, a base hit for Tolle. Duda turns second, he'll go on to third, and the Mets have runners at the corners with nobody out. Now Aubrey Huff doesn't cover much ground coming off that bag at first base, and Tolle just got it by him for the Mets' 3rd hit of the game.
Well, Tolle just keeps keeping on, doesn't he? Saw him last night deliver that big hit to the right side. Most of his hits have come up the middle or to left field, and now getting that ball down and in and rushing it past Huff. Nice job by Duda going first to third.
Tolle has now reached base in all 13 games he's played this year. And the Mets have their best scoring chance of the day. Tejada coming up, Pelfrey on deck. Ruben is grounded out to third. He's 0 for 1. He's at a bit of a skid now, 2 for his last 17. The Giants play their infield at double play depth. They'll concede the tying run to try and get a double play. And Tejada watches inside for ball 1. So Vogelsong, who worked out of a jam in the 4th inning with 3 straight strikeouts, in bigger trouble to start the 5th. 77 pitches with nobody out in the 5th inning. And Tejada grounds one to short. Crawford will go to second, gets the force there. The relay by Burris not in time as Duda comes home with the tying run. So Tejada drives in a run, his 5th of the year. And safe at first as he really beat a path down the line to avoid the double play.
Good hustle by Ruben. Ball takes a little funny hop there. By the time Burris gets across the bag, didn't get enough on that throw to get Tejada at first base.
Awfully close.
Boy, bang, bang.
I mean, his foot might have still been in the air when that ball hit Huff's glove, but no argument. So now the go-ahead run at first, and Pelfrey will try and move Tejada over with a bunt. Mike grounded out to third his first time up, and nice bunt by Pelfrey down to Huff. 3-4 on the sacrifice gets Tejada to second. First sacrifice of the season for Pelfrey, and Met pitchers as a group have been doing a much better job bunting than they did a year ago.
A nice execution there by Mike Pelfrey.
So now Neuenhuis with a chance to get the lead run home. Kirk has been up twice, struck out both times. His second stint in the leadoff spot. His first one came in Atlanta on Wednesday, and he got on base 4 times out of 5. And the curveball in for a strike, 0-1. Vogelsong's been able to drop that curveball in whenever he's needed to. Daniel Murphy is 2 for 2 waiting on deck. The Giants 1 run 4 hits. The Mets 1 run 3 hits. Another curve shot toward the middle, but there's Crawford playing behind the bag, and he throws out Neuenhuis to end the inning. So the Mets get even. Tejada drives in the run, and we're even at 1 as we go to the 6th. Sandoval will lead off for the Giants, and for more on the Panda, let's check in with Tiffany.
Thanks, guys. You know, sometimes you ask a simple question, you get an interesting response. With this hitting streak going on, I asked Sandoval earlier, hey, are you seeing anything different at the plate? And he goes, yeah, I can see. Back in November, he actually got LASIK surgery on his left eye. And when he got to spring training, stepped up to the plate and took a pitch, he goes, oh my gosh, this is what I've been missing this entire time. And he says his approach to hitting, very simple philosophy. I see the ball, I'm going to hit it. And Gary, you mentioned earlier that he worked on working deeper into the counts, maybe being a little bit more patient in certain situations, and that's absolutely right, as he told me earlier today. But he did say, if the ball is there, I'm going to hit it. Guys.
Well, the ball was there, and he swung at the first one and grounded out. Well, let's see, he had an 8-pitch at bat in the first inning, flied out. His last 2 at bats put the first pitch in play.
Yeah.
And that 3rd inning at bat, he drove in the only run for the Giants.
It's the same instance. He just found a hole that time.
By the way, as a hitter, seeing the ball
helps.
It definitely has got to be a plus.
You had a LASIK surgery, right?
I did, both eyes. That's been 14 years now.
Wow.
Buster Posey's 0 for 2. He's hit the ball hard twice, lined out to Murphy, and then a get the married men off the infield shot to Tejada at shortstop that Ruben was equal to. Are there any at bats where Posey doesn't hit the ball hard?
Finally got behind 0-2. Let's see if Pelf comes in. Yeah.
Hello.
German Shepherd? Or a little mix, maybe?
Friendly. She likes him. And that just missed. 2-2 to Posey. Buster Posey, 2 years ago, National League Rookie of the Year. What can you do after you've been Rookie of the Year and led your team to a World Championship? To the right side, and it threw the hole for a base hit. So the first time today that Posey didn't hit the ball all that hard, and he finds a seam. 1 out and 1 on.
We saw that last night with that 2-strike double to right center field. When he has 2 strikes, he's thinking up the middle or the other way. Fastball away. Just find that hole. He makes hitting look simple at times, doesn't he?
By the way, before Posey won Rookie of the Year, it had been 35 years since the Giants had a Rookie of the Year. Remember John the Count Montefusco?
The Count.
1975 National League Rookie of the Year. Here's Aubrey Huff, who's popped up both his at bats. And Huff grounds one to second. Should be a double play. Murphy to Tejada. 4-6-3 on the double play. And it gets Pelfrey through the top of the 6th. The ground ball specialist gets himself a ground ball on the first pitch from Huff. And the rest was easy. To the bottom of the 6th we go, tied at 1. Hey, you never know. Mets and Giants tied at 1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
You know, when you talk about Buster Posey, his San Francisco Giants hitting coach Mullins talks about his balance, and see how he delivers that swing. Not a lot of moving parts, and if you look at his head as he swings, it stays straight. It doesn't bob. It doesn't go down. It doesn't look up. It's right on the baseball with that follow through.
Let me ask you a question. It's about, what's it now, 10 or 15 years ago. J.D. Drew came out of Florida State as I don't know, as celebrated a hitting prospect as there was. Buster Posey comes out of Florida State. Is Posey the kind of hitter that Drew was coming out of college? Murphy lifts one out to left, and Cabrera fights it for the first out.
Well, the thing about J.D. Drew, when he came out of college, he was considered a 5-2 player. He could do it all. He could run, he could throw, he could hit for power, hit for average. When people watched him enough, you would get the feeling that he was indifferent at times out there. Posey's just the opposite. He's a workaholic. He's a guy that I think has gotten better as a pro. J.D. Drew might have stayed the same. He had some good years, but certainly everyone thought he's going to be a 30, 100 guy every year. Posey's worked hard on his swing, and he's only going to get better.
Here's David Wright, 0 for 2 today. So David's streaks to start the year certainly might be in jeopardy today. He's hit in every game he's played. He's reached base at least twice in every game he's played. Vogelsong has held him in check. Ball and a strike to Wright, who's grounded to second and taken a call third strike. Ike Davis to follow. It's been another rough day at the plate for Ike. David began the day leading the National League in batting and on base percentage, and he fouls it back 1-2. Again, that high fastball just has given the Mets all sorts of trouble today.
By the time they recognize him and put the swing on it, it's a little late. That being said, David Wright in this early go is doing a lot of the same things that Posey does. Great balance, great plate coverage.
Here's the 1-2. In tight. That's where he tried to get him the last time up. Came inside twice in a row and got him looking.
Posey looking to the bench, making sure that Wright's not peeking.
Wants the curveball, and it's in there for a call, strike 3. Vogelsong gets Wright looking for the second straight time, and that's 8 strikeouts for Ryan Vogelsong, matching his career high.
Vogelsong has the ability in every at bat, and that's one of the reasons he has all these strikeouts, is to show the hitter 3, 4, 5 different looks. David saw cutter away, fastball away, cutter in, and then finally put away with the curveball.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Davis, who's gone down swinging each of his 2 at bats. And Ike takes a fastball up and away. Well, Steven Strasburg and Anibal Sanchez were in a scoreless duel in Washington going to the bottom of the 6th. Ian Desmond homers for the Nationals. They're up 1-0 going to the 7th. The Nats are hitting. The Nats are pitching. They're 11-4 to start the year.
And other than the opening series here, they look like they've been at home the entire month of April. Or it feels like that.
That doesn't hurt. Here's the 1-1 to Davis. And that pours over the outside corner, and it's 1-2.
Well, the pitchers in the National League right now have like talking to himself. Vogelsong has a purpose with every pitch. First pitch, fastball outside, just missed. Counter with a changeup, right in the same spot for a strike. Gets a fastball away for a strike and then tries to go up. Does he counter with a curveball now?
And Davis fouls it off. Run the bases at Citi Field tomorrow following the afternoon game against the Giants with the Mr. Met Dash for all kids 12 and under, presented by Nintendo World Store. For tickets, visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. The dogs on the field today, the kids on the field tomorrow. 2-2 from Vogelsong, and the curveball just outside, and a full count to Ike. It's Vogelsong about to throw his 95th pitch of the day, and the Giants start to get some folks stretching in the bullpen, if not throwing. Here's the 3-2 coming to Davis, and Ike swings and hits it in the air to center. Right there is Pagan, and that retires the side. Mets are down 1-2-3 in their half of the 6th. On to the 7th we go. Pelfrey back to the mound in a 1-1 game. live at ChooseNissan.com, and Ryan Vogelsong, tying his career high with 8 strikeouts, has been in command.
Well, 4 straight there on the fastball. How about 5 straight? Just has had every pitch working on the corner. Sequence of pitches have been great.
Meanwhile, Mike Pelfrey has kept pace, albeit not in as spectacular fashion. Only 2 strikeouts for Pelf, but he got the big ground ball double play to end the 6th, and now faces Nate Shearholtz to start the 7th in a 1-1 game. Shearholtz has one of the 5 hits for the Giants, a single to center in the 2nd. And Pelfrey falls behind 2-0. Mike has walked only 1. Given up only 1 extra base hit. That was to Pagan, a double in the 3rd. He came in with the only Giants run. Burris and Crawford to follow, 6, 7, and 8 for the Giants here in the 7th. In the air to left field, and Jason Bay right there waiting for it. 1 out. Now the pitcher is due up 4th in the inning for the Giants. Vogelsong has thrown 95 pitches, but there's no action in the San Francisco bullpen, so it's like they're sticking with him.
If they get a hitter on, if Burris gets on, you might see some action then. But a lot of times you can stay in a game. We've seen Vogelsong swing the bat. He knows what he's doing up there.
This Pelfrey's line, very similar to his line in his last outing against the Phillies when he went 6, allowed 1 run and 8 hits. Manuel Burris is 0 for 2 today, and he lines one over short. That's a base hit. Hit number 6 for the Giants. And so Burris with good speed is aboard with 1 out.
Well, Burris we've seen as a much more accomplished hitter from that left side. Nice swing, that ball out over the plate.
So Burris aboard. He's already got a couple of steals this year. Brandon Crawford the batter. Crawford has flied out and lined to short. 0 for 2 today, 0 for his last 15. And yet he continues to swing the bat pretty well. Vogelsong is coming out on deck, and the Giant bullpen remains quiet for the moment. Pickoff play, and he almost got him. He had him leaning the wrong way, and Burris fortunate to get back.
Burris was almost picked off a couple times in last night's ball game.
Ooh, he might have got
him. Let's see if he gets his hand. It's going to the outside. I don't know if he got the tag on him. That's the problem.
Paul Nart, the first base umpire, right on top of it.
The ball beat him, but with the swipe tag by Ike, only caught the base, didn't catch his outside hand.
That's why you go back to that back corner of the bag.
It gives you a little more time. Split second.
You know, we've talked a lot about Pelfrey's improvements this year, but that's a big improvement as well. His ability to make a credible move to first.
You know, he's spent all this winter thinking about ways to improve, and he knew that one of the things he had to do is be better with base runners. He's a sinker ball pitcher who likes to get double plays. If guys steal bases off you, you lose that.
Nothing at 2 to Crawford.
You know, I think R.A. Dickey probably has the best right-handed move on the Mets. Well, watch his feet. It's kind of a jump move to get yourself in position. See how he kind of jumps up, turns that front foot towards the first base bag, and that's the way you can get rid of it really quickly.
Now a 2-strike count on Crawford. Burris is not going, and it's taken high, 1-2. Vogelsong getting ready on deck, so he is staying in. And while Roberto Kelly, the first base coach, just consulting with Burris. And he's going. Tejada has to retreat to grab the ground ball and throws out Crawford for the 2nd out. But with Burris in motion, they stay out of the double play. And now Vogelsong will come up with a runner at 2nd. Vogelsong today is 0 for 2, struck out and hit a comebacker. Lifetime, though, is average right at 200. So looking to get himself a lead here in the 7th. And Bruce Bochy says, I'm riding my starter. And why not? The way Vogelsong has been pitching. Remember that Bochy had to use a ton of bullpen in the game last night. He used 6 of his 7 relief pitchers. Only the rookie Danny Otero didn't get in the game last night after Zito went 5 and the game went 10.
You know, it's interesting when you are in the outfield and you're playing against the pitcher. You got to watch out playing too shallow in right field, because most pitchers are going to be late on a fastball. That sometimes becomes their power place to hit.
No contact on that fastball, and it's 0-2. Pelfrey still throwing hard here in the 7th. Angel Pagan on deck. Burris with outstanding speed at second, but with the outfield so shallow, no guarantee he'd score on a base hit to the outfield. 0-2 from Pelfrey, and Vogelsong stays alive.
You know, it was interesting there. They decided to go upstairs on Vogelsong with that 0-2 pitch. You know, there's sometimes that when you're facing the pitcher, it's an easy go of it. Whenever you have a guy in scoring position, all bets are off. Pitching exactly like you pitch a hitter.
'95th pitch of the day for Pelfrey, and he gets Vogelsong with a slider to end the inning. 3rd strikeout for Pelfrey. 7th inning stretch time at Citi Field. Mets and Giants tied at 1. Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local Dodge dealer today. Mike Pelfrey, 7 terrific innings today. He's allowed just a run and 6 hits. Terry Collins coming to him after the inning. No handshake there. So I don't know whether Pelfrey is coming out of the game or not. It might depend on how the Mets perform here in the 7th. The pitcher is due up 5th in the inning. Bobby Parnell on call in the bullpen. Meanwhile, Ryan Vogelsong, who took the turn at bat in the top of the 7th, stays on for the bottom. Jason Bay leads off against Vogelsong. Jason is grounded to short and struck out 0 for 2. And Bay takes it high for ball 1. The Giants play games like this every day. Close, low-scoring games. Good starting pitching. Game ultimately in the hands of the bullpen, protecting a 1-run lead. Bay hooks one out to left. On comes Cabrera, diving, and I think he trapped it. He did, and landed behind him. And Bay will stop at first base. Melky Cabrera coming a long way and making the dive, but could not secure it.
With that big swing by Bay, he did not get a good jump on this baseball and kind of traps it in his glove as it squeaks through. Good start for Bay and the Mets.
So for the third time in the last 4 innings, the Mets get the leadoff man on. Just the 4th hit off Vogelsong. And now Lucas Duda, who has scored the only Met run after drawing a leadoff walk in the 5th, will bat with Bay aboard and nobody out.
Here in the outfield, you're looking at the swing of the batter up at the plate. And when you see a big swing like that, you're thinking, hey, Bay, home run hitter, chance. He hit a home run last night, but the ball's right off the end of the bat. And that's what fooled Cabrera.
And Duda takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. The Giants start to get their bullpen loose. They got the lefty Jeremy Affeldt, who was so good last night, up again, with Tolley, the left-hand hitter, due up next. One and one to Duda, and that misses low. 2 balls and a strike. Vogelsong up to 100 pitches now on the afternoon. He threw 103 in his first start of the season against Pittsburgh last Sunday. Went 6 1/3 in that game. Right about at the same point of the game today. And Duda hits off the fists foul. Now it's 2-2. Right-hander Clay Hensley, who got the save last night up alongside Affeldt.
Boy, he did a nice job, didn't he?
Boy, Affeldt did a lot of work last night. Went 2 full innings through 32 pitches, but right back up again this afternoon. Mets have so many left-hand bats now. You've got to have your lefties ready every game in that bullpen. Up and away, 3-2. We talked about the Giants playing close games, and it just seems like it's every day.
Wow.
That's 2 years plus a couple of weeks, 175 1- or 2-run games. They'll send you right to the Rolaids. Lincecum goes tomorrow. There goes Bay, and the pitch is low, ball 4, and Duda's on with a walk. So the Mets get the first 2 men out of the 7th, and let's see what Bochy decides to do. He got Josh Tolley coming up. He's got Affeldt ready in the bullpen. Does he make the move or leave Vogelsong in? And at the same time, for Terry Collins, you got a hot hitter in Tolley, but do you bunt him in this spot?
Well, you see Bochy talking to Dave Righetti. He's not sure what he wants to do. Running over the scenarios. Decides to leave Vogelsong in.
The Giants will play for the bunt with Huff and Sandoval coming in from the corners. Tolley is 1 for 2 today. And he shows bunt and drops it down off the mound. Vogelsong might have had a play at third, but turns it down, and Schott puts it over to first base. Another pitcher who has trouble throwing to a base. And Vogelsong is upset with Posey. I think Posey wanted him to throw to third, and they're having a little conversation on between the mound and home plate.
Well, the bunt's right back at you. If you're a pitcher and the bunt's back at you, you go to third base. And he had plenty of time to make that play. I think it might be the opposite, Gary. I think it might have been, no, you're right. You see Posey jumping up and down, saying, you know what, you had a shot there. And you're right, Vogelsong, those little athletic throws, not his friend.
So the Mets have 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, and a chance for Ruben Tejada, who drove in the Mets' first run, to get them a lead here in the 7th. Tejada 0 for 2, came up with 1st and 3rd and nobody out in the 5th, and hit a ground ball into a fielder's choice to get Duda home. Now Bay at 3rd and Duda at 2nd and 1 out.
So the infield in. Crawford's backed up about 3-4 paces. So is Burris, and corners pinching in.
This is likely to be Vogelsong's last batter. Mike Baxter on deck to pinch hit a left-hand batter. Tejada fouls the first pitch off to the right. The Mets are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position today and 1 for 17 in this series. Baxter to follow. Affeldt ready in the bullpen. So Bochy giving Vogelsong one more hitter. When you play close games, things like that failure to throw to third on the bunt play loom enormous.
Huge.
Here's the 0-1 to Tejada, and he pulls it down to third. Pass Sandoval, base hit. Bay is in to score. Duda will score behind him. Tejada goes to second with a 2-run double, and the Mets lead it 3-1. There's the big hit the Mets have been looking for.
Well, Terry Collins plays a hunch, puts Neuenhuis in the leadoff spot, and it works for him because Tejada usually leads off in that 8th slot. Gets a pitch to hit it in the inside part of the corner, inside part of the plate, and because Sandoval was pinched in, can't get to that ball down the line.
Kept it just fair over the bag. Tejada's driven in all 3 runs for the Mets.
And nice job by Duda. Had to make sure that Bay went. And once it gets past Sandoval, easy to score the Mets' 3rd run.
And what that will also serve to do is to keep Mike Pelfrey in the game. Now that the Mets have the lead, Pelfrey with just 96 pitches through 7 innings will get a crack to pitch the 8th, and he'll take the turn bat here after Baxter had come out on deck.
Boy, you got to love that as a starting pitcher. You got to love it as a manager. You got the lead. You can still leave your pitcher who's having a good day out.
Well, we saw Terry go up to Pelfrey between innings, and I'm sure that's exactly what he said. If we get the lead, you're staying in. So Pelfrey stayed ready, and here he is. He's grounded out and sacrificed today. 0 for 1. Not a sacrifice situation here with 1 out. He pokes one to right field. Scherholz playing shallow is there, and Tejada will hold at second base. So Pelfrey flies out for the 2nd out, and now Kirk Neuenhuis will come up, and we'll see if Bochy makes the move to the left-hander. He's gone this far with Vogelsong. Now Vogelsong down in the game 3-1, and it looks like Bochy's going to try and push him through the inning.
This is one of those things. If you manage a team that your strength is your starting pitching, in games that your team is not scoring you any runs, sometimes you make the decision to leave him out there.
But again, how huge is the Giants' failure to try and cut down the lead runner on the bunt? If they get the force at third and Tejada hits that same ball, it might be a double play. Taken inside by Neuenhuis.
3 things happened there. Vogelsong did not get off the mound quick enough. He did not hear Posey saying to go to third base. And Jason Bay, don't forget, got a great secondary lead and made that a tough play.
Neuenhuis 0 for 3 today. Struck out twice and grounded to short. 7-game hitting streak in jeopardy. And he foul tips that one, 1-1.
This is the first day that I've seen Kirk swing a little bigger than he's had it since coming up.
10th game he started for the Mets. Began the day hitting a .371, 6th in the National League. Word's starting to get out. Now people have to learn how to pronounce his name.
That's right.
And spell it. It might be harder.
We got that down.
Popped it up. Sandoval into foul territory. And that retires the side, but the Mets grab the lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. Ruben Tejada with the big hit. 2 in scoring position, and Ruben chases them both home. He's driven in all 3 runs for the Mets today, and the Mets are up 3-1 as we go to the 8th. 3-1 New York. Let's check in with Tiffany.
Guys, Kirk just had that last out, and he's had a very different day at the plate today than what he did last night. We all know he had 2 great catches in addition to that home run. But one interesting thing I noticed last night in the clubhouse, he wasn't willing to talk about how good of a game he had or the personal accolades that come along with this great story of the rookie here for 2 weeks. He didn't care. Not to say that it doesn't matter maybe on a deeper level, but he was upset that this team lost, and that in some way mattered more to him, and you would think he'd be happier today if they actually do pull off this win. Guys?
Pagan flies one out to Nieuwenhuis, who squeezes it for the first out.
Big out for Pelfrey there. To go back, Tiffany, you were mentioning something that Terry Collins was referring to today, and he said, you know, those footballers. And he said, you know, the guys that grow up playing football and they're very good at it, they know how to turn the switch on. You know, they can do what they want to do in the clubhouse, but once the game starts, they are all business. And that certainly is Nieuwenhuis so far.
And I think also that whole thing about wins and losses being the bottom line, I think that's also part of the football mentality. You can run for 250 yards. Your team loses, there's no celebration.
And I think that, you know, when you change the culture of the minor league system, that's also a big part of it, Gary. So, you know, in the minor leagues, you got to get yours because you're not always going to be advanced if you're not. But, you know, you win championships down there, it really matters when you get to the big leagues. You know, the Mets in the 80s, and I know sometimes we go ad nauseum talking about, but not that team. The teams in the minor leagues won a lot of championships in Jackson and Lynchburg and other places.
Cabrera bounces one slowly. Ike ranging wide, lets it go to Murphy, and Pelfrey gets over to cover in time. Nicely done by all 3. And the Mets get the 4-1 putout for the second out.
That is one of the nicest plays I've seen in a long time. It takes a very special first baseman to know that that's going to be an in-between hop. It's going to be a difficult play, and let it go for the second baseman. And then you have the hustle of Murph to make sure he's backing up, and then the hustle of Pelfrey to get on the base. That's just outstanding.
So that gets the Mets to 2 out and nobody on, with Sandoval coming up. Pablo Sandoval drove in the only Giants run with a 3rd inning single. And he swings at the first one and hits it out to center field. Nieuwenhuis has room to the edge of the track, and the side retired. It's a 6-pitch inning for Mike Pelfrey. Pelfrey threw 8, and the Mets with a 3-1 lead. luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. There's the new Party City deck this year in the space between the old wall and the new wall, and the iconic Pepsi sign. Shea Bridge. 33,844 on hand on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Javier Lopez is on to pitch for the Giants as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Lopez was brought in to face the Mets last night. Struggled. See, his ERA is still 0.
Tapped toward the hole. Crawford on the backhand. The crossbody throw off the bag comes Huff, and Murphy has his 3rd hit of the game. Daniel Murphy making contact, and a good thing happens for him.
Well, we've seen him miss a couple of those outside pitches, but we put him in play today, and 2 of them became hits as he beats this one out.
Not sure if Crawford would have had him with a perfect throw, but with Huff playing first base, it kind of has to be a perfect throw.
Well, it's hard to throw across your body like that. Good try by Crawford.
So the Mets have their 6th hit, and Murphy has half of them. David Wright's gone 0 for 3 today, has been caught looking his last 2 at bats, but now gets to face the lefty. And Lopez comes inside, ball 1. Well, Mike Pelfrey came off the field after finishing the top of the 8th inning, and Josh Thole went up to him. First thing he said, 1 more.
Yeah. That's leadership by the young Thole.
Mike has 4 complete games in his career. Bounce down to first, right under the glove of Huff and into right field. Murphy turns second, he'll go on to 3rd, and the Mets have runners at the corners with nobody out. Now Aubrey Huff is defensively challenged wherever you put him, and they're going to charge him with an error, and the Mets have the table set here in the 8th.
Well, there's a decision that has to be made here in San Francisco. They got a young power hitter who has struggled, Brandon Belt, who's a first baseman, fine defensive player, as we saw last night. Huff hasn't contributed too much offensively, and here misses to play at first.
So the Mets with a chance to add to their 3-1 lead. Murphy at 3rd and Wright at 1st. And Ike Davis the batter. Ike is 0 for 3, struck out twice and flied to center. So there's every chance that David Wright's 10-game hitting streak to start the year is going to come to an end. As Ike takes a fastball for a strike. But Javi Lopez, who struggled last night in the 9th inning, having a trouble again here today. Lopez, remember, was put in that save opportunity in the 9th when the Mets had 3 lefties coming up and gave up the game tying hit to Josh Thole. And this is what Bruce Bochy has to wrestle with, trying to figure out the roles in his bullpen now with his closer Brian Wilson out for the season.
That's the hardest part when you see a box score and see, boy, how did that guy give up all those runs? Well, you had an infield hit and a muffed play at first base that could have been a double play.
New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. That's got 2 in the 7th to grab the lead on Ruben Tejada's 2-run double. Now looking to extend that lead with Davis at the plate. And Ike lays off the slider. Kerwin Danley gives him the pass, and it's 2-1.
Well, Ike starts us pretty early on the slider. Strong enough to hold that bat back.
Ike is now 0 for his last 11. Giants shorten up on the infield. They can't afford to fall further behind. And that's just off the plate. Fastball from Lopez, and it's 3-1. Jason Bay on deck. Giants have a right-hander ready in the bullpen for him. And Mike Pelfrey hoping to go the distance. 3-1 on the outside corner, 3-2. Third straight at bat that Ike has run a full count. Do you send right here? Not going. And Ike hits a little squibber past the mound. Crawford can't make the play as a run comes in. And it's 4-1 New York. Well, it's like we said with Murphy. You make contact, something good might happen. There wasn't much contact, but it's squibbed right under Lopez and under Crawford. Sheepish grin by Murphy as he comes in with a run.
Take it.
Mets haven't gotten the ball onto the infield, but they get a run.
Sloppy inning here by the Giants. Lopez, because of that unusual motion, can't make it, and Crawford comes in with the bare hand. Base hit for Ike.
It would appear as though they have scored that a hit. Giants make a pitching change. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Fios for America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Mets now up 4-1 in the 8th. We'll be right back. Rookie right-hander Danny Otero takes over for the Giants. Jason Bay takes inside for ball 1.
Otero won a job in spring training, pitched in 10 ball games, a 0.82 ERA, and getting 3 saves.
Bay has done his best work late in games. He got a base hit in the 7th inning and came home with the lead run. Mets with a run home in the 8th, 2 on and nobody out. And straying far from first is Davis, and he's tagged out. I think Davis thought that Wright was about to lead a double steal. Wright didn't go, and Davis got picked off.
That's the call. You got it right, Gary. David Wright was trying to get a jump, didn't get it. Ike thought he did. And you can see he stops, but Ike, of course, doesn't have the quickness that David has and just got caught in no man's land.
So Posey alertly picks him off, although I'm not sure Huff got the tag down in time.
It's that you don't see it all the time anymore, but the ball beat him. So
that's the first out of the inning. Wright remains at second with 1 out. Pickoff goes 2-3. So Davis, after picking up a very strange RBI, now Wright takes off for third. The throw by Posey, and Wright is out. So the Mets make 2 outs on the bases in quick succession, with base still left at the plate. 2-5 on the caught stealing. 2 assists in the inning for Posey.
Hurt your feelings if you're an RBI guy. This ball outside. Posey with a gun at third base. I thought David got there when I first saw it to the outside of the bag. Look at the tag here by Sandoval.
Might have gotten him on the calf before the foot got there. And Bay goes down. Or no, just got a piece of it to stay alive.
There's a good view of it right here. Slaps the tag down. David slides to the outside of the bag. Yeah, good call.
So Posey gets to show off his arm, and the Mets have the base running conclave in the dugout. How can we do that better next time?
What is it, the speed up rule?
Crawford gets in front of it, throws out Bay. So 3 outs occurred during Bay's at bat. Not his fault. We go to the 9th. Pelfrey looking for the complete game. The Mets up 4-1. As the series with the Giants continues. Tickets start at $12. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets now. Well, the Nats had a 2-0 lead going to the 9th. Logan Morrison hit a 2-run homer off Brad Lidge. So Steven Strasburg's chance for a win goes out the window. The Cubs are trying to snap a 6-game losing streak. Darwin Barney having the big day as they lead the Reds in the 8th. Everything else in the National League goes tonight. Jake Westbrook goes for his 3rd win for the Cardinals, and Roy Halladay goes for his 4th win for the Phillies, who've won their last 13 games in San Diego. And Mike Pelfrey will not get a chance for the complete game. Frank Francisco on for the save.
Well, we read that one wrong when we saw it in the dugout. We thought that Tolley had said to Pelfrey 1 more inning. But 8 strong innings, Francisco trying to clean up.
Pelfrey threw 102 pitches over 8 innings, allowed 1 run and 6 hits, walked 1, struck out 3, and through 3 starts this year, Pelfrey has a 2.29 ERA. Buster Posey takes up and inside, and it's 1-1. Frank Francisco saved the first 3 games of the year for the Mets, looking for his first since. Aubrey Huff on deck, and then Nate Shearholtz in the top of the 9th. Line drive past Murphy, base hit for Posey. His 2nd of the game. Posey's now 11 for his last 20. So the Giants had their 7th hit. Leadoff man on in the 9th.
You're going to throw a fastball away. He will just get on top of it. Too quick for Murph to make the play.
So now Aubrey Huff, who's 0 for 3, grounded into a double play his last time up. Francisco was the losing pitcher in last night's game. He walked the leadoff hitter Cabrera in the 10th, got the next 2 outs, but then an intentional walk and a 2-out hit by the rookie catcher Hector Sanchez. The Giants had the lead and they held on from there. And a fastball strike to Huff. 1-1.
Beware of the hitter that's made an error the inning before.
That's getting an unearned run in the bottom of the 8th after Huff's error, but then they ran themselves out of a bigger inning. Davis picked off, Wright caught stealing. Foul tip, and it's 1-2 to Huff.
Fastball up in the strike zone by Huff.
Davis playing behind Posey at first to give him some depth against the left-hand hitter. And Huff bounces one slowly. Francisco's play is to first. And they get the first out as Posey moves up to second. So 1 out in the top of the 9th. Follow the Mets with the MLB.com at Bat12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text at BAT to 31826 or visit Mets.com for details. Now Nate Shearholtz is 1 for 3 on the day, single to center back in the second. Mets trying to snap a 3-game losing streak and put an end to the Giants' 3-game winning streak. Dylan G against Tim Lincecum tomorrow afternoon. And the curveball misses to Shearholtz, ball 1. The Mets bullpen, which was untouchable the first few games of the year, has faltered lately. Now Francisco trying to back up an outstanding performance today by Pelfrey. And the fastball just inside, and he's behind Shearholtz 2-0.
One more base runner you can get to. Brandon Belt, who's on the bench. Home run power.
For now, Burris and Crawford, the 7 and 8 hitters, due up. And now Francisco behind on Shearholtz 3-0. Got 2 power bats on the bench for the Giants. Belt from the left side and Brent Pill from the right side.
Terry can't even look.
Well, he had the choice of leaving Pelfrey out there, but decided he needed to get Francisco in to try and get the save.
Might have been an April decision, right?
Well, we've seen there's ball 4, and Shearholtz is on with a walk, and the Giants get the tying run to the plate. We've seen Justin Verlander go to 131. We've seen Felix Hernandez go to 126. Pelfrey stopped at 102 today, but you know, I can understand that from Terry's standpoint completely. You are trying to create an aura of success with Mike Pelfrey, and he had an extraordinarily successful day. You don't want that diminished by something happening in the ninth.
By not being able to close it out. So, and this is why you have Francisco on your team. This is why you gave him a multi-year contract, and that is to put an end to these ball games.
Well, the Mets have a safety net behind Francisco, and John Roush, Tim Burdack both throwing. For now, Bruce Bochy will keep the bullet in his holster, and he'll keep Belt in the dugout and send Burris up to the plate. Burris not a power threat, 1 for 3 on the day, single to left center his last time. And that is Hector Sanchez, who had the game-winning hit last night, out on deck to bat for Crawford. So here's Burris, and he takes the fastball low for ball 1. So a single and a walk have given the Giants life in the top of the ninth. Posey at second, Shearholtz at first with 1 out. And Burris takes it at the knees for a strike, 1-1.
Burris didn't like that call. Bochy took his hat off. He didn't like the call.
Now it's 1-1 to Burris. Up the middle, base hit. Posey being waved around third. He'll come in to score. Emmanuel Burris with an RBI single. It's now 4-2 New York, and the Giants have the tying runs on base. A seeing eye single for Burris, his second hit of the game.
Well, nice call by Bochy, staying with Burris. Gets the base hit. Gets the Giants a little closer. Just a fastball away and down. Good hitting. Turns it back up the middle. Murph can't get to it. Posey, good read. Picks up his base coach and scores the second run for the Giants.
Now Hector Sanchez has been announced as a pinch hitter. He's a switch hitter, and Terry's going to take the ball from his closer. Francisco gives up a run in the ninth and now will exit, and Tim Burdack will come in to turn Sanchez around and make him a right-hand batter. A call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Fios for America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Will come on to try and get the Mets an out or two in the ninth inning today.
Well, Terry Collins did not have a lot of patience for his closer today. Did not want to let this game slip away.
Well, he wanted to get Francisco out there after Francisco took the loss last night, so he pulled Pelfrey after 8. Now he makes the quick hook and brings in Burdack. That turns Sanchez around. He's a better left-hand hitter than right, and he'll come up right-handed here. With the tying runs on base, Schuerholz at second and Burris at first. Burdack came in last night to face Crawford, who sacrificed, but then he struck out Belt and got Pagan on a ground out to get the Mets through the top of the ninth with a runner on base. Sanchez takes a rip and a fastball, 0-1. Sanchez last night in the 10th inning delivered the game-winning hit.
Just got this ball out over the plate, better left-handed hitter, and back up through the middle.
I know that Francisco said after the game he thought he made a good pitch, but the ball was up.
It wasn't a good pitch. I mean, he thinks he made a good pitch because it broke his bat, but it wasn't a good pitch because it was up.
And a swing and a miss. That ball disappeared on Sanchez, and it's 0-2.
Burdack, of anyone on the Mets staff, has more swing and misses out of the bullpen on that slider.
If Burdack stays on to get a save, it would be the 5th of his long major league career. He had one last year for the Mets, last July against the Reds. Now, the left-hand hitting. Oh, they had the left-hand hitting Brandon Belt on deck. Now they've got Brett Pill, a right-hand hitter, instead. Meanwhile, Sanchez fouls it back. So if they bring up Pill, you would have to think the Mets would respond with Roush, but then you'd probably see Belt to face Roush. So the wheels turning as they have throughout these first 2 games of this 4-game set. When you're playing close, low-scoring games every day, this is the way it goes. What Burdack would prefer is to get a double play grinder from Sanchez and end it right here. Here's the 0-2 on the way. Swinging a foul ball. He just barely got a piece of that.
That's one thing about Burdack's slider, is that it's just as nasty to right-handed hitters as it is to the lefties.
Really changing speeds on it there, taking a little off that time, and almost had Sanchez. Francisco faced 4 batters, gave up 2 hits and a walk, and now Burdack trying to bail him out. 0-2 is up high. Burdick trying to put away Sanchez. He got him. Tim Burdick comes in to strike out Hector Sanchez, and now the Giants are down to their final out. And now let's see what Terry does. You got the right-hand batting Pill brought in as a pinch hitter. As you look at Sanchez going down on strikes, and Terry pops out of the dugout, and he'll bring in Roush, it would appear, to try and get the final out. And we'll see how Bruce Bochy responds, whether he'll send up Belt instead. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Fios for America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Mets up 4-2 in the ninth. We'll be right back. The Giants have 2 on, 2 out in the top of the ninth. John Roush brought in to try and get the final out.
Well, perfect through 8 innings. 8 games, sorry. And 8 innings.
He's allowed just 2 hits and a walk in those 8 innings. Now the Giants had sent up the right-hand batting Brett Pill, but Brandon Belt will be sent up instead to get the left-hand bat in against Roush. Tying runs on base, Sherholtz at second, and the very speedy Burris carrying the tying run at first. So here we go, as Roush delivers to Belt, and he misses high for ball 1.
You see the outfielders are playing about as deep as you can play. It's called the no doubles defense. Nothing gets over your head.
Roush has 58 career saves, 11 of them last year with Toronto, looking for his first as a Met. And Belt takes a letter high strike. Doug Eddings has given the pitchers the top of that strike zone all day. And Belt takes it high, 2-1. Brandon Belt's had 20 at bats this year. He's looking for his first run batted in. He has split the first base time with Aubrey Huff. If he keeps it going, Angel Pagan would be next. Giants have a run in here in the ninth. Terry Collins pulling his closer Francisco. Burdick did the job striking out Sanchez. Now it's Roush. And Belt swings and misses at the fastball, 2-2.
Good pitch there. Belt's Achilles heel is up in the strike zone. Real good low ball hitter.
That's where Roush has consistently been throwing it. Now the Giants are down to their final strike. 2-2. Just missed. Off speed pitch from Roush, and it's 3-2. So now the runners will be in motion, and with Burris' speed at first base and the outfield playing deep, you might have a chance to score the tying run on a single.
Got to stay away from that slider down and into Belt. We go back up to the high fastball.
3-2. And a pop-up. It should end the ball game. Tejada looking for it, having trouble. In comes Neuenhuis, and it drops. And the Giants have tied the game. It was trouble from the time it went up. Tejada had a difficult time reading it. Neuenhuis tried to save him, but he couldn't touch it. And 2 runs score, and the Giants have scored 3 in the 9th to tie the game at 4.
We always say the defense, you want your outfield back so it doesn't go over their head. The problem is you open up the entire field. Tejada's got to make this play. Never wanted it, and Neuenhuis, with the hustle, tried to come in and take advantage of it and make the play, but he overran it.
So a devastating top of the 9th for the New York Mets. Now the game is tied. Belt the go-ahead run at second with 2 out, and here's Angel Pagan, 2 for 4 on the day. And he takes the curveball for a strike.
It's a classic case, Gary. I don't know if anyone wanted to make that play.
They scored a double for Belt. 2 RBIs. Reminiscent of the double Jason Bay got in Atlanta, but far more damaging because it comes with 2 out in the 9th inning. There's a strike. 0-2 to Pagan. And Terry Collins sees this 9th inning blow up on him. Holy Luis Castillo.
Cool.
Sometimes that 27th out is just the hardest. Now the 0-2 to Pagan, and it's too high. All the runs in the inning are charged to Frank Francisco. And you go back to Mike Pelfrey, 102 pitches through 8 innings, cruising a 6-pitch 8th inning, and the decision to take him out of the game in favor of Francisco, who was quickly lifted after allowing a run in the 9th. Burdack struck out his man. Roush got the job done, but his fielders betrayed him. And now it's 2-2 to Pagan.
You know, in that case, and Neuenhuis wasn't able to make the play either, but you always tell your infielders, when the outfielders is back, you got to cover more ground than you usually have to cover.
I just think Tejada had trouble picking that ball up, just from his reaction.
He had trouble picking it up, and then it's a little windier now, and it started moving on him.
2-2 to Pagan. Swing and a miss. Roush strikes him out to end the inning. But the Giants get even with a 3-run 9th. Burris with an RBI hit, and then the Mets mess up a play. Now we come up in the bottom of the 9th. It's tied because the Mets couldn't make the 27th out.
You know, watching that play in between innings a couple more times, I realized that this ball's pushed out too far. That Tejada looking at Neuenhuis looking at Tejada. That has to be your center fielder's ball. It's got to come up and make that play.
Yeah, that's a rookie mistake by Nieuwenhuis. He assumed that Tejada was going to grab it, but it's got to be the outfielder's ball all the way.
Absolutely.
And when he took his eye off it to look at Tejada, that's when he lost track of the ball.
Well, he took his eye off it, lost track of the ball, and then really accelerated, which took him inside the ball. Brandon
Belt, who hit that ball, will stay in at first. Aubrey Huff moves over to play second base. Unusual for him. Emmanuel Burris at short. And Clay Hensley, who got the save last night, comes in to try and hold this game and send it off to extra innings again.
Well, Hensley was outstanding last night, getting the outs he needed to get that save. Know him mostly from the Marlins.
Lucas Duda leads off the last of the ninth for New York. And Hensley throws the curveball low and inside for ball one. Duda has walked twice and scored both times. Officially 0 for 1. So Mike Pelfrey's chance for a win goes down the drain. Ryan Vogelsong off the hook. And the Mets will try and win it in their final turn at bat.
What a waste of the great effort by Pelfrey. Boy.
By the way, if you're wondering why Aubrey Huff at second base, we can only assume that Ryan Theriot, who did not fly into town with the Giants and was due to fly in today, has not arrived. Otherwise, there's no way that Bruce Bochy would play Huff at second.
Not arrived or too sick to play still.
Two and one to Duda with Tolle and Tejada to follow here in the last of the ninth. Now the 2-1, and it's fouled back. He had a good rip at that fastball. By the way, Aubrey Huff in his career has never played second base. He's played first, he's played third, he's played left, he's played right. This is his first career appearance at second base in 13, make it 14 major league seasons. Will the ball find him?
Usually does.
Poked foul. The Giants have won their last 2 games in extra innings. They hadn't done that in back-to-back games in 12 years. They hope to have another extra inning game on their hands today in very unlikely fashion. 2-2 to Duda. In the air, shallow right center. It'll fall for a base hit. Bagan over to play it, and Duda's aboard to lead off the last of the ninth. So Lucas has his first hit in this series and is on base for the 3rd straight time.
A little better by Duda today. A couple of walks, and here a base hit, running away that fastball, just throws his hands at it, gets it off the end of the bat.
And that's the nice part, that he wasn't trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark, just trying to put it in play. And now we'll get a pinch runner. Scott Hairston will run for Duda, carrying the potential winning run at first. So Hairston at first. Tolle the batter. Tolle was called upon to sacrifice in the 7th and did that successfully. Let's see if he's asked to bunt again. And Tolle fouls it off. Ruben Tejada, who's driven in 3 of the 4 men runs today, is waiting on deck. And then the pitcher spot behind him. Mets still have the left-handed bat of Mike Baxter available on the bench. Sandoval creeping in from third, expecting the bunt from Tolle. Huff's got to remember to cover first on the bunt play. And he's already cheating way over that way.
He doesn't have a lot of foot speed, so he's going to have to cheat.
Hairston easily back. Well, they certainly improved their defense at first base with Belt in there. Saw him make a terrific play to save the game in the 9th inning last night. Affeldt the left-hander, Romo the right-hander in the Giants bullpen. As Hensley has given up a leadoff hit in the last of the 9th. Now Tolle drops down the bunt. Belt fields, and he'll go to first, where Huff does remember to cover. 3-4 on the sacrifice, and now the potential winning run is at second.
Two good sacks
for Ruben Tejada.
Sorry, Gary. Two good sack runs by Josh Tolley. Just perfect form. Hand up the bat. Gets the angle. Tries to catch it off the end of the bat. That's what you're doing when you're bunting, is catching the baseball. And perfect angle here to Belt, who had no play at second base.
That's with 3 sacrifice bunts in this game. Pelfrey had 1, and now Tolley with a pair. So now Tejada comes up, and the Giants will play rather shallow in the outfield, hoping to be able to cut down Hairston on a base hit. Cabrera, Pagan, and Sherholtz, the 3 Giant outfielders. Tejada 1 for 3. He's driven in 3 runs today with a fielder's choice and a double. And that rides inside. Tough for Posey to handle. 1 ball, no strikes. Mike Baxter is out on deck to bat for Roush. Mets let it get away in the top of the 9th, trying to reclaim it in the bottom. And Tejada takes it high, 2-0. Now, you said it last night. Hensley tends to be more effective against the left-hand hitters than he is against the right-hand hitters. That's of a left-hand hitter on deck to pinch hit. You almost think that Terry Collins might consider sending up Justin Turner against Hensley, that he might have a better crack at it. There's a strike, 2-1. Turner with the bat in his hands, just in case. Two and one now to Tejada. And it's too high, ball 3. So now Hensley behind 3-1. Does he challenge Tejada here?
I think you have to go after him. His control is not the same as it was in last night's ball game for Hensley.
Hensley earned his first save for the Giants. Remember, he saved 7 games 2 years ago for the Marlins. Had a very rough year last year with Florida. Now it's 3-1 to Ruben Tejada. Hairston leads at second. And it's up high, ball 4. And Tejada draws the walk. So now Mike Baxter will get a crack at it. They've got the left-hander outfield ready in the bullpen. And here comes Bruce Bochy. So if he brings it outfield, you have to think that Terry Collins would respond with Turner.
Yes.
So the call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon Fios for America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Outfield coming in, 4-4 in the 9th. We'll be right back. by Mazda and the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon.
Yeah, the play not made of the game as Terry could only hang his head. Neuenhuis coming in could not make the play.
It went as a 2-run double for Brandon Belt with 2 out in the 9th to tie it at 4. Now the Mets trying to win it in their final turn at bat. And Jeremy Affeldt, who was just outstanding last night, is right back out there.
Let's see what he's done so far this year. He had one bad outing in Colorado that cost him, reason his ERA is so high. But last night, just perfect in 2 innings.
And the Mets will send up Justin Turner to bat for Baxter, who was batting for the pitcher. Hairston, the winning run at second base. Turner faced Affeldt in the game last night, grounded out to short against him in the 7th. It's been a rough start for Justin, but he was outstanding last year with runners in scoring position. Hit .350 for the year at RBI situations. And looking to pick up Hairston with the winning run here in the 9th inning this afternoon. So 2 aboard for Turner. And we'll see if Affeldt can be as effective today as he was last night. And the first pitch curveball in for a strike.
You know, Gary, you and I were talking as fine a ball game as last night was. Mets had so many chances. Those are the games they have to win. They're going to have one of those seasons that they want, and certainly this is another one.
Well, they had a 4-1 lead in the 9th inning today. Could not seal the deal, and now trying to come back and win it. Taken low by Turner, a ball and a strike. Kirk Neuenhuis, who's had a rough day at the plate and was unable to make that last out in the top of the inning, waits on deck. One from Affeldt, and Turner fouls it back. And a rip at a fastball, and it's 1-2.
He had a good pitch to hit there. Turner likes that ball out over the plate. See his numbers. A lot of that damage done last season.
So now Affeldt ahead of the count, 1-2. Hairston trying to build a lead at second. And Turner bounces one slowly. Burris now playing short, doesn't have the play at second, and it's safe at first. Huff, playing second base for the first time in his career, forgot to cover second base. And the Mets get a huge break, and now the bases are loaded. Well, we said the ball finds you, and the ball certainly didn't go to Huff, but it should have, as he did not cover first.
Well, the both is out to argue the play at first base as Burris tries to make the adjustment, but he's ready to go to second base to turn 2, and Aubrey Huff is caught sleeping.
Well, remember on the previous play we talked about Huff needed to cover first on the bunt, as it looked like Turner might have been out, as Bell pulled that ball out of the dirt, and Bochy is arguing that call. Well, on that play, it appeared as soon as the ball was hit to short, Huff broke toward first base.
Yeah.
As though it were a bunt play.
Or like he was going to cover first. That's right. Where he plays.
So I'm assuming that goes as an infield hit for Turner. So the Mets get an enormous break after the Giants got one when Neuenhuis couldn't catch the fly ball by Belt. And now in a game of redeeming features, Neuenhuis gets a chance to win it for the Mets.
How about some of the hits today for both sides?
Well, it has not been the best played game. But the Mets have a chance to win it. The Giants bring the infield and the outfield in. Neuenhuis has gone 0 for 4 today. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Kirk takes a strike. So just as Rausch got victimized by a play not made in the top of the inning, so does Affeldt in the bottom. And now the Mets try and take advantage. Down to first. Belt coming home. Force out there. Throw by Poe. Gets away. Here comes Tejada, and the Mets win it. In a game of errors, the Giants make the last error, and the Mets win it 5-4. Bruce Bochy is going to ask for interference on the last play, but he gets no satisfaction. And
And on the throwing error by Posey, Tejada races home with the winning run, and the Mets win it 5-4.
The catcher who was run into by Scott Cousins last year, which ended his career, was hit by Scott Hairston with a proper slide to knock him off his socks with that bad throw to first base. Big win for the Mets.
Well, it was a game of mistakes, and the Giants made 2 of them in the bottom of the 9th after the Mets made a huge one in the top of the 9th. And the Mets pull it out and win it 5-4.
Like an infielder making the double play, you leave yourself open if you're trying to make that play at first. Nice play by Belt, but watch Scott Hairston come in and just clip the leg of Buster Posey, but at the same time could touch home plate with his hand.
Exactly right. The rule is the same as it is at second base. As long as you can touch the base, or in this case the plate, then it's a legal slide to take out the catcher, and that's exactly what Hairston did.
And that's a good baseball play. You have to do that.
So it's a force at the plate for the second out, and then an error on Posey to bring home Tejada with the winning run. And the Mets laugh last, snap their 3-game losing streak, and win the game 5-4. Today's game summary brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com today. Giants get 3 in the top of the 9th, 2 of them on a fly ball that was not caught, and the Mets win it on an unearned run in the bottom of the 9th on the throwing error by Buster Posey, and the Mets win it 5-4. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Toyota. When you choose Toyota, you get a lot for less. Toyota. By Skechers, go run the way you're supposed to run. By Ford, check out the best-selling vehicles with the best values in America. Visit your Tri-State Ford dealer today. By the New York Lottery, hey, you never know. By Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com. Final score, the Mets 5 and the Giants 4, as the Mets even up this series at a game apiece. Our next game tomorrow afternoon, right back here on Picks at 1 o'clock. Dylan G against Tim Lincecum in Game 3 of this series. Our next SNY telecast Monday night in the final game of the series, Johan Santana against Madison Bumgarner. Coming up next on Picks 11, it's American Outlaws. Mets win a mistake-filled game 5-4. Now for Ron Darling, Tiffany Simons, and our entire crew, I'm Gary Cohen at Citi Field. We'll see you right back out there tomorrow afternoon right here on Picks 11.